I'm sure by now, if you're watching this video, you know that there are gestures available for Procreate to make your workflow seamless. However, these gestures aren't super common knowledge necessarily, they're not always intuitive, and they're not readily available for us to pick up and learn as much as we would like. So in this video, I'm bringing you 70 different Procreate gestures that you can use to speed up your workflow and overall enjoy the program of Procreate and all that it wants us to do with it, because there's so much waiting for us as far as creativity. So I'm Peggy Dean. I am an educator, illustrator, author, artist, and founder of the Pigeon Letters. If you visit my website, you will be getting all the freebies, including Procreate brushes, etc. So let's dive on in. The first section that I want to talk to you guys about is the gallery section and what you can do from here. First off, quick preview. You can quickly preview any of your canvases simply by pinching out with 2 fingers on any canvas in the gallery. Once the preview is open, you can swipe to review projects simply by swiping to the right or swiping to the left. Something to note about this is that if you do swipe within a stack, it's going to open each individual artwork in the stack, and if you close it while in the stack, then it is going to put you in the stack rather than the main gallery. Not a problem to have, it just takes you through everything. Once you are open, all you have to do to close your quick preview is 2-finger drag toward the center. So basically pinch back in. If you're open in one of these projects and you decide that that's what you want to be working on, all you have to do from the quick preview is just double tap. And now you can see I have my bar for my canvas, I've got my Procreate interface, and I'm ready to work. You can select multiple projects by going to Select and simply tapping on each project that you want to combine in this selection. You can also tap and drag, and as you can see, all these blue check marks came on, indicating that I am selecting all of these. You can unselect in the exact same way. You can rearrange projects simply by tapping and holding and just dragging it in between 2 others to move them around where you want them to live within your gallery. You can create stacks. As you may have noticed, I've got layers that are on top of layers. These are multiple projects within one stack. This one has a ton of them, so this is a better way to organize your files and your projects if you happen to work on multiple canvases at a time. To create a stack, there's 2 ways that you can do this. The first is when you have canvases or projects selected, all you have to do is go to stack and it's going to create that for you. The other way that you can do this is by taking one of your projects, hovering over another image, and then it creates a stack for you. To remove a project from a stack, simply hold that project, go over to stack. It's going to reopen your gallery. You can drag and drop that wherever you want at that time. To share or duplicate or delete projects, you can swipe to the left and you'll see that you can share, you can duplicate, or you can delete. You can do this in a bulk setting as well after you select multiple projects from the top menu up here where you see share, duplicate, delete. Now we'll move into some main workflow gestures. As you can see, I have a canvas open and am in my project workflow interface of Procreate. The first I'll show you is to zoom in. This one's pretty simple. You just pinch out with 2 fingers. To zoom back out, you're going to pinch in with 2 fingers. To reset the frame, if you are wanting it to snap back to the actual frame, you just 2-finger pinch it back together. To rotate it, you can use 2 fingers and just rotate. You can do the same thing while zooming in and out. So it has a lot of easy capabilities as far as adjusting your canvas on the screen. If you want to go into full screen, let's say you don't want this bar, all you have to do is tap with 4 fingers and you can see the bar removed on the side with the sliders. To return to it, all you have to do is 4-finger tap again, or there's a little icon on the top left. You can tap that as well. If you want to move your slider here, you just swipe out from the side and then you can drag it up or down. That will adjust it on height, wherever you want it to go. If you want to switch it to the other side, you just simply go to Actions, Preferences, and then toggle on right hand interface, and you'll see it pops over to the right side. To invoke quick menu, you can enable this in settings. You go to actions, you go to preferences, and then you'll go to gesture controls and then quick menu. You'll see that I have changed mine to where if I tap on the rounded square in between the sliders, it will invoke or dismiss quick menu. Just as a sample, that's what it looks like. And then to edit what this looks like, I would go into it, and you can edit the quick menu by just tapping and holding, and then you can swipe through all of the actions that you can do. Let's say that you created some marks that you didn't want to, or you changed your mind about, or they were an accident. To undo it, you can just simply tap with 2 fingers and it will take each of those actions away. To redo them, you can use 3 fingers, tap to bring them back. If you want to rapid undo, you can take 2 fingers and just hold down and it will get rid of them. 3-finger rapid redo will bring them back. If you want to clear a layer, you just use 3 fingers and scrub the screen, and it's going to clear whatever is on that particular layer. Let's say you want to copy and paste a portion or an item. All you have to do is make sure you're on the layer that you want to be on, and use 3 fingers, swipe, and that will invoke the copy paste menu along with the cut and paste menu, so that would be the same action. You can create a straight line by creating a stroke and holding your pencil until it snaps into place. And then you can also create a straight line that snaps into 15-degree increments by holding it down and then taking one of your fingers, holding that on the page, and then you can see it will be in perfect 15-degree increments, including if you need this to be straight on a horizontal line, it will snap to that, as well as snap to a perfect vertical. The same thing goes for shapes. If you want to create a perfect square, all that you have to do is hold that down after you draw it. You can see that the square is not perfect, but if I take my finger and hold it down, it snaps into a perfect square. Before I let go, I can do the same thing where I rotate it, and that's going to snap it into 15-degree increments, so it'll go a perfect vertical like this, or a perfect square, depending on what I want. I do need to hold it down and let go while it's being held down to make sure that that stays in that perfect shape. The same goes for circles. It'll make perfect curves. You can see this is clearly an oblong shape, but if I hold down with my finger, it snaps to a circle. Let's say that you have created a selection. I'll just grab one of these, and it's pretty large and you're not really sure, you want to move it somewhere. Let's say you spent a long time selecting it and you want to be able to see your whole canvas, but you're kind of stuck because you already spent all that time making that selection. You don't have to deselect. You can actually hold down the arrow right here and shrink down while that selection is still there without ruining the selection or moving the selection. You can use split screen in Procreate. You just want to make sure you have the other app open that you want to use the multitask with. So let's say I want to use Pinterest. Make sure Pinterest is open. And then from Procreate, you're going to swipe up on the bottom, hover over Pinterest, and drag it over to the side. Make sure it's on the side. If it's within, it will put this picture in picture and it will be in the way. You want it to be on the side. Release, and then you have split screen. You can adjust your split screen ratio with this little icon in the center by pulling to the left or pulling to the right, depending on what you want to be focused on as far as what's taking up more room. You can also, at the very top here, this little bar, move it from left to right. Then to remove split screen altogether, simply take that same bar and swipe it off the screen, and then you have closed split screen and you're back to your main program. Let's talk layers now. To lock a layer, this will protect everything that's on that layer and not let you have any sort of destruction to it. Simply swipe left on the layer and say lock. You'll see a padlock right here that will prevent you from doing anything to that layer. To organize your layers, all you have to do is select a layer and you can drag it up or down within your layer panel and then just release to drop it where you'd like it to go. If you want to select multiple layers, all you have to do is, I'm going to unlock this real quick. All you have to do is once you have one of your layers selected, just swipe to the right and then release, swipe to the right, and then release, and then you have multiple layers selected. If you want to group layers, you would select them like I did, and then say group. And then you'll see that you have a nice group ready to go. Another way that you can do this is by taking a selection and hovering over that layer beneath it, let go, and it creates a group. Let's say you want to merge those layers rather than group them. All you have to do is either pinch them together. So if I selected this top layer and this bottom layer with my fingers, it will it will merge everything together, including what's on the inside of it. And that goes for multiple layers. If you want to delete a layer, just swipe to the left, say delete. Let's say you want to adjust the opacity without having to go into all of the settings. All that you need to do is two-finger tap on the layer in the layer panel, and then you can swipe to adjust opacity. If you want to select all the contents on a particular layer, all you have to do within the layer panel is take two fingers and hold, and then it selects the layer contents, so you can see all of that selected. To bring up the layer menu, simply go to the layers, tap the layer that you want, and your layer menu will open for that particular layer. If you want to alpha lock one of the layers, and what that means is whatever you do will only be affected to the pixels on that particular layer rather than everywhere. So let's say if I was to draw all over here, if I was to alpha lock it, which the control is two fingers, swipe to the right on a layer, release, and you can see that it has this checkerboard grid to alpha lock. Now when I do that, it will only affect that particular layer. Side note, pro tip, I prefer using clipping masks, but that is the quick gesture for alpha lock. To isolate one layer, let's say you want to turn off all the layers but one of them, all you have to do, it doesn't matter if it's selected or not, is go to the visibility icon, which is this check mark, hold down on it, and it's going to turn all of the other layers off so that you've isolated only that layer. Doesn't get rid of them, because you can always turn them all back on. Let's say you want to copy a layer to another canvas. To do this, all you have to do, and it's not going to remove it from this canvas, but you'll hold down on the layer, drag it out, continue holding, select gallery, and then you can go into another layer, or excuse me, another project. It doesn't have to be within the same stack either. And I'm still holding it, and then when I release, it will add it to that canvas as well. If you need a precise brush adjustment, all you need to do is go to your brush slider here, select the slider and then tap out of it, or drag out of it rather, and you'll see that as I move up, it's a lot slower than if I were directly in here. And so that's going to give you a much more accurate size. The same goes for opacity. Precise opacity, tap and drag out, and then you have a much more precise selection. If you want to organize your brushes, just go to your brush panel, and brushes will be, you will grab one, hold it, and drag it up or down, and then release it in between two that you want, or just below it. And then you can also organize brush sets by doing the same thing, so you can tap and hold, drag it wherever you want it to go. If you want to create a new brush set, you will want to be in your brush set menu. Just pull down and you'll see it will reveal this plus symbol. That is, you will select that and it will create a new brush set. And then if you want to create a new brush, it could be from any of these folders. Make sure you're in the right folder and simply tap the plus symbol on the top right. To share a brush, simply swipe to the left and say share. You can also duplicate brushes by pressing duplicate, and then you can delete a brush set by doing the same thing, swiping left and saying delete. If you want to share a brush set, you will just tap on the brush set and then say share. You can also rename, delete, and duplicate that way as well. If you want to grab the same brush that you're using for your eraser as you're using as your brush, simply just hold down on the eraser and it will give you the exact same brush that you're using in both places. Same goes for the smudge tool, just hold it down. Now we'll move into color. Color drop is really easy if you want to fill a canvas by selecting the round color icon, dragging it, and dropping it onto the canvas. Now, you can adjust the flood threshold of the color. So let's say I have a shape right here and I've kept it kind of light at the bottom here because I want to show you what this would look like if I were to adjust the threshold. So sometimes this works differently depending on your shapes or what you're filling, but you'll see the color threshold is right here at the top, and if I drag down or drag up, it will affect my color drop threshold. As you're changing through your colors, maybe you get on a blue and you're having fun with it, but then you want to go back to the previous color. Rather than having to sample it, you can just hold the color icon on the top and then it will revert to the previous color. Speaking of grabbing the last color from the canvas though, all you have to do is hold down your finger and then you will see this circle come up and you can grab a color from just about everywhere. Now to create a color palette, all you need to do is go into your color interface. You should see this by default, but you can go into palettes on the bottom left, and then all you have to do is select the plus sign here and then say create new palette. It also gives you the option to take a picture and grab it, create a palette that way, create one from a file, or create a new one from photos. But for this one, you would just select the plus sign and create new palette. And then you will see your new palette is untitled right here. You can organize your color palettes by selecting them, holding, and dragging them up or down, just the same as you do with your layers or your brushes. To add a new color to your palette, make sure you have the color selected that you want, and then all you have to do is select a square within that palette, and then it will live there. To rearrange, organize your colors, you can tap and hold and drag, and it will move around within your palette. You can also delete colors from palettes by tapping and holding, and then it will let you delete the swatch. To share a color palette, simply swipe to the left and say share. You can also delete this way by swiping to the left and saying delete. Let's say you want to get a true color. You can go to the color disc here and see this white area. It's really hard to find a perfect white. So if I take my finger and I double tap, it's going to snap it directly to that white area. So even if it's way over here, if I just double tap, see, it'll snap right to white. And this goes for black, it goes for the blue. It's really anywhere within the disc that you want it to isolate to. If you want to get even more specific with your colors, you can take 2 fingers and pinch out to zoom in on the color wheel, or if you want to zoom back out, just take 2 fingers and pinch in and it'll bring back your hues. Lastly, I have a blend mode cheat sheet that you guys should definitely grab. It will go into a lot deeper into what all of these blend modes mean and how you can manipulate them to really increase special effects, if you will, on your pieces. And I also have a full guide on all of the gestures that I went over. That is the 70 Guides Master Cheat Sheet. So I hope this was super helpful. If you guys enjoyed it, listen, please subscribe, thumbs up, turn notifications on, all the things that all the YouTubers say, but really I would super appreciate it. And be sure to visit thepigeonletters.com/freebies to grab Procreate goodies and other creative resources. So I will see you guys next time.